I like it when we get about an hour and a half into the show and we haven't mentioned Meghan Markle. I get a little twitchy. Have you got any Meghan Markle stuff going on, friends?
Still secure and financially confident, the attacks on the royals will eventually stop. But launching an alcohol product on Princess Diana's birthday, it's not tone deaf. It's not tone deaf. It's incredibly insensitive.
They both walked away from the Hollywood spotlight, but only one came back with something worth sipping. Meghan Markle just launched a rose that promised luxury, elegance, and that Montecito magic. But here's the problem.
She's now in the wine business, right? She's taking on Dan Murphy's, and she's a lot more expensive, actually. Each bottle of this is $30 each.
No one knows what's actually in it. Not the grapes, not the winemaker, not even the vineyard. Meanwhile, Cameron Diaz, yes, that Cameron quietly built a transparent, eco-conscious wine empire that's not only affordable, but flying off the shelves. One bottle is built on hype. The other is built on facts. And once you hear the full story, you'll wonder why Meghan's bottle costs more, but offers less of everything except branding.
In packs of 3, so that's $90 US to get her Napa Valley rosé. Now, apparently it's very nice. I'm sure it is lovely.
Feel financially solvent. The attacks will stop, but I think it's almost a tautology that they won't, because the only thing that really gives those two relevance is their animus and hatred of the royal family and whatever secrets they have to sell out. Hence, you see something like this.
What Cameron just exposed, intentionally or not, could be the final quirk in Meghan's wellness brand fairy tale. On paper, Meghan's latest launch looked like a rebrand masterclass, a soft blush label, an exclusive online store, a dreamy Instagram rollout talking about notes of melon and the warmth of the sun. Classic Duchess vibes, poetic, vague, and unmistakably premium. But when wine lovers and wellness fans actually looked closer, something was off.
The fact that anyone that fact alone should have disqualified any alcohol-related product from launching on her birthday. I get frustrated when I even think about it, because I think to somebody like you or I, that's common sense. And Meghan Markle has spent years aligning herself with Diana's legacy.
There were no grapes listed, no vineyard mentioned, not even a whisper of who made the wine. Instead, just a $90 minimum order for 3 mystery bottles wrapped in aesthetic packaging and moral mystique. It felt less like a product and more like a pitch. A brand banking on the idea of refinement with none of the substance to back it up. And in a market now dominated by informed label-reading consumers, that silence speaks volumes. Now, let's be clear, Meghan isn't the first celebrity to sell a bottle of wine. But what's different here is how it's being done. While Meghan reportedly searched for a CEO before even revealing a product, Cameron Diaz did something radical in celebrity land. She actually learned the business. She flew to France. She met with winemakers. She teamed up with a woman-led production team. And she made sure every bottle of Aveline listed the grapes, region, ingredients, and additives. In short, Diaz gave her fans transparency, not just a curated fantasy.
She's obsessed with the detail. This kind of move doesn't read as accidental. It reads as careless at best and cruel at worst.
That contrast wasn't just noticed. It was devastating. Meghan's brand, once a whisper of grace, now echoes like a hollow bottle. You probably think this is where the story ends. A tale of 2 wine brands, one real and one performative. But you're wrong, because the more people dug into as ever, the more it started to look like something far more cynical. Not just a rushed product, but a calculated grab for profit dressed in Duchess disguise. And when you see what's really missing from Meghan's bottle and what insiders are now saying behind closed doors, you'll understand why this is more than a wine flop. It's a branding unravel. And it's only just begun. Here's where it gets really messy. Meghan's brand wasn't just vague. It was eerily vacant. No origin story, no production transparency, no certifications, just polished prose about elegant notes and a dreamy blush hue. As if that alone could justify the $30 a bottle price tag. But in today's market, consumers aren't just looking for pretty labels. They want the receipts, organic certifications, great varietals, vegan-friendly assurances, the facts. And Meghan's brand offered none of them.
Of information, regarding Catherine, Princess of Wales, and how she's doing?
Oh, yes. So, well, this source actually, I had explained to you that this source, the reason why I love this source is because they were the ones that told me last year.
It didn't take long for wine influencers and health-conscious fans to notice the glaring omissions. What vineyard is this from? One top reviewer asked, "Where's the ingredient list?" Another posted, "Crickets." For a brand built on image, Meghan's rose was suddenly looking like a product with no soul, just strategy. Meanwhile, Cameron Diaz was out here dropping cold, hard numbers. Aveline had sold over 213,000 cases in 2024 alone. That's not hype, that's dominance. And the kicker, her bottles retail for $24 or less if you subscribe. Meghan's $90 minimum for 3 bottles of what critics are now calling mystery juice. That price gap wasn't just bad optics. It turned into a PR nightmare because when you ask people to pay luxury prices, you better give them luxury value. But Meghan didn't. And the optics grew worse when consumers started comparing Aveline. Minimalist, but informative design with Meghan's artsy, yet empty packaging. Cameron's back label looks like a nutritional guide.
Meghanessa poeticaiku. No joke.
One influencer even made a TikTok comparing Meghan's wine copy to a horoscope reading. But wait, it gets worse. Because just as this backlash began simmering online, eagle-eyed industry insiders started pointing out something even more suspicious. No one could identify the wine source. In the wine world, that's a huge red flag. Even the most affordable brands disclose grape varietals and regions.
Why?
Because wine isn't just a drink. It's geography in a bottle. Knowing whether your rose came from Provence or Paso Robles changes everything.
Murder conspiracy, affairs that were being generated online. 2 weeks later, it was announced from Catherine that she had cancer. So that's why I have so much confidence in this source. And then another one I wanted to bring up is somebody that reached out to me about us.
Meghan's label was silent completely. And that silence began to feel strategic. Was it hiding low-quality sourcing? Was it a private label slapped on mass-produced stock? Was the As Ever wine just another example of white-labeled merchandise repackaged with Duchess flair? The questions exploded across Twitter threads and Reddit boards. And when fans asked directly on Instagram, the brand deleted comments rather than responded. That's not even the craziest part, because while Meghan was ghosting transparency questions and allegedly removing critical comments, Cameron Diaz was doing the opposite, uploading behind-the-scenes videos of her visiting vineyards, testing barrels, talking to female winemakers. It felt authentic, real, grounded. Diaz didn't just put her name on the label. She put her reputation behind the process, and the public responded. Wine Spectator praised a bean for its clean approach to modern wine marketing. Meghan's wine. It wasn't even being reviewed. Most experts didn't have enough info to legally review it because, without knowing what's inside a bottle, how can anyone give an honest critique? The message was becoming painfully clear. Meghan didn't build a wine brand. She launched a marketing illusion, and it was starting to fall apart. Hold up.
This is where it gets insane.
Because while Meghan's team stayed silent, refusing to clarify anything about what went into her rose, an internal source from a West Coast distributor came forward. According to them, the wine wasn't made in Montecito or Napa or anywhere glamorous. It was sourced from a bulk supplier, one of those generic facilities that churns out massive quantities of low-grade wine, often used by hotels or budget private labels. If that's true, Meghan's $30 a bottle luxury elixir might be nothing more than rebranded leftovers from a mass production facility. No wonder she didn't list the vineyard. This wasn't vineyard to table. It was spreadsheet to bottle, and fans were furious.